Chinese government has said that they will fight this trade war to the end. What does that mean?
Well, first of all, this global trade war initiated by President Trump and his government is not only against China, it's against the rest of mankind, it's against the whole world. That's the first point. The second point is that who should ever expect that China should back down or yield to American pressure? No, China is such a country which prides mostly on its decency, dignity, and honor, and even at the cost of its own economic interests. China will rise up to defend its own legitimate interests. That's the reason behind why the Chinese government is now in retaliation against the maximum bullying and intimidation by the United States, levying 125% tariff against all U.S. exports to China. China has also declared to the world that with such level of tariffs against the U.S. exports to China, the U.S. produced goods will have no marketability in the China market, declaring basically an end to China-U.S. trade. But this whole mess is created by the United States. China is responding to defend its legitimate interests and defend free trade for mankind.
Also, there are many others who say that one of the reasons why these tariffs have been imposed is because China likes to dump cheap products. It is notorious for stealing intellectual property rights. You know, a whole raft of things that the Chinese do that other countries don't do, and that they should be reined in. So, I mean, you could have prevented some of this stuff, couldn't you, by behaving better under World Trade Organization rules?
With due respect to you, I completely disagree with what you just now said. Talking about cheap goods, the Chinese-made goods are now one of the highest qualities in the world. Talking about the Huawei-made 3-fold smartphone, one of the best smartphones you can expect in the world. Many telecommunication equipment and the highways, for example, high-speed railways, you name it, you should really have a new look at what's the reality in China.
I'm not questioning the quality of the stuff that you produce, or indeed the price levels, which are astonishingly competitive. But let me move, and I don't want to turn this into a kind of competition about, you know, who produces better or cheaper stuff. What I'm interested in, Victor, and I wonder if you could help me with this, is whether China, behind the rhetoric, can withstand the considerable pain that will be inflicted by this trade war on your country.
First of all, the pain will be two ways. The American people will suffer the pain because they will pay all these tariffs. President Trump should have the decency to tell the American people that the American people are paying all these billions of dollars of tariff. It's not China, it's not Britain, it's not EU, it's not ASEAN countries, for example. The American people are being taxed for all these tariffs. Secondly, for China, of course, there will be enormous amount of pain, loss of exports, for example, but China prides more on other things. In addition to consideration of these economic gains or losses, that is, that you need to do the right thing. It is absolutely wrong for President Trump and for the United States to launch this unprecedented global trade war, and it's absolutely the right thing for China to defend the free trade. Therefore, we have a choice. Either you go along Trump's way, that is maximum bullying, intimidation, regardless of your decency and dignity, or the Chinese way. That is work hard, work very diligently, but also jump to the occasion to defend the matters of principle. That is free trade. There is an American who said, no trade is free. Let me emphasize, that means his mind is not free. That means he's suffering from prejudice and bias and bigotry. Trade should be free for mankind as a whole.
There are many people who worry that a trade war can morph into a shooting war, a real conflict. Is that the way this is seen by you and by others in China?
Well, if we look back into history, into the 1920s, 1930s, of course, we should learn the lesson that trade wars, economic wars, eventually may actually be transformed into war or even global war. That's why we should urge mankind as a whole, put a stop to the trade war launched by the United States, put a stop to the tariff war, because otherwise left unattended, it may be transformed into a global war that will be Armageddon for mankind. We should embrace peace rather than agitate for war. That's the most important moment in modern history up to today.
You sound almost panicky there, Victor Gao.
No, I'm always sane and I can always be in control of my faculties. It is the United States which is panicking. Look at the panic buying at department stores. Just imagine the pains the American people are going through when they are faced with this prospect of so much tariff that they need to pay for their daily goods.
Victor Gao in Beijing, thank you very much indeed for joining us.